one, y'all. Y'all think it's me. I'm telling you, it's her.
Start your day with that. That is my message to the world.
We have a couple of those. Huh?
We definitely have those.
I got to tell you a quick story. I spoke for the Syracuse Education Foundation. So I then went up there. It was a beautiful event. It's like 2,500 people. President of Syracuse University. And I laughed when I heard that because they never wanted us on the campus. They thought it was loitering. So now he's there, all the leaders, the mayor, all these different folks. I mean, school district, principals, school leaders, they want me to speak about the state of our city and how we're going to inspire these young people. So you know me, give me that opportunity. I'm on that stage. I'm going for it. Okay. So I get up there, share to my city, which I was in tears because who wouldn't dream of doing something like that? You know, it's like, man, I walked away from this town with 5 garbage bags. Now they got me back up here speaking to the whole town. And my mom was there and I looked out in the audience. She had tears coming down her eyes, man, just crying. And then afterwards, I got this crazy standing ovation, standing up, and people want to talk. Had the book, Believe in the Hype, 7 Keys to Motivating Students. Everybody wanted the book signing. I had to make a beeline to my mother. I said, I just can't. I got to go see her. And so I said to everybody, excuse me, I'm sorry, excuse me. Like, I'm coming off the stage. Everybody want to talk. And I went there and I hugged her. And mother and sons, we got this mother-son relationship. What is all this? What you doing all these tears? What are you crying about? And she looked at me and said, remember when I told you were a little boy that one day you're going to do something with that mouth?
Wow.
Amazing, man.
Over close to 3,000 people are seeing what I saw all those years ago.
Something about the mamas.
Something about the mamas. Self-awareness. Then the third thing you want to pack in your bag is faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. See, faith is a substance. That means you can touch that thing. My mentor, Dr. Miles Monroe, says it like this. Take your dream, go into the present. This is dreaming. Go into the present, go into the future, pull it into the present and beginning to work on it. Ooh. He said, so that's what you do. You go yank that thing and bring it right where it is. So to you, it's not out there. It's right here.
Hey, so good.
This is where the dream is. So we got to have faith. You know what I mean? It's serious. You find, we play ball, sports. The teams that seem to do the best are the ones that believe they can do well. Winning to us is just not even, it's not even an option. It's not negotiable. We know we're going to win.
That's right.
Hey, y'all won that national championship. You know y'all going to win that thing. The way y'all were beating those teams, the way y'all were playing together, there was nobody to beat you that year.
That's right.
You had faith that y'all were going to take it all away. All right. The next one is the future. All right. Am I willing to take a risk for my future? See, a lot of times we're so concerned about the present that we're not willing to take that risk for the future. And we need to think about that sometimes. We got to be able to say the future is so, I believe in this future so much, they're willing to get on that bus. Now, like I said, I clarify things because then next, Greyhound calling me up and say, you blessed us. We got 9,000 people getting on buses. I'm not telling anybody got to do stuff like that. All right. So that's not what we're talking about. But you got to at some point say, my future is worthy of pursuit.
Come on.
I'm going to get on it. And the last thing you got to and this is being a child of God, is your birthright. Hey. I love how Miles says it. Mondo, I quote him all day long. That was the dude that changed my life more than anything. And Miles said it like this, and I sent you the video that I listened to. I listen to that video every day. That's kind of my thing now. I'm going to listen to that. It's only 15 minutes. I listen to it every day, where he says that every manufacturer wants to see his product succeed.
That's right.
Every manufacturer. And if you don't, it doesn't. They bring it back, repair it, and send it back to you. A new copy.
Yep.
And also, the manufacturer wants you to succeed, not for your namesake, but for theirs.
That's right. So good.
Apple look good from it. See, so we have a birthright of purpose that God gave us. And the reality is, in knowing that, with the struggles, the ups, the downs, the 60 years old and still dreaming and pursuing, you just keep going. Because you know that before the foundations of the earth, there was a plan for your life. And God had that plan already orchestrated. You just step into it. So those are the 5 things. New location, your bags. Call me. Let's talk. Call me up and we can talk about it. I want to see how
I love that. I love that. So, Coach D, you went out just for a second when you were repeating those 5. So, could you repeat the 5 again?
Absolutely. The 5 again. The first 5 are new location, self-awareness, faith, pursuing your future, and birthright.
Wow.
Pack them in them bags, baby. The bags. Let's get busy and get on that bus. But don't literally get on the bus.
Right. Let me ask you a question, because I've talked to quite a few people, and even related to my own life, there were seasons where I felt really confused or not really clear on what bus I need to get on. Mm-hmm. So for somebody that's in that kind of situation, they're like, they have all these ideas in their mind, but they're not quite clear on what the next step is. What would you suggest?
Oh, goodness, Mondo, you married beauty and brains. Well, look at you.
I'll tell you, man, she's got it. She's got
a blessed man. Boy, look at you. Woo. That's my daughter right there, boy. My goodness. First of all, let me address one thing: finding it. You know what I mean? I just believe through faith and patience. You got to ask God for clarity on the order, and ask Him to order your steps. That's just as a believer. That's how we. You know what I mean? We go to Ecclesiastes 3:1, to everything there's a season and a time to every purpose under heaven. God, what is my purpose? But some practical things too. Just like I tell people, one thing you can find, one way you can find what you're passionate about is through I have this thing called the passion pathways, just to mention a few. One is called lifetime infatuation. Mm. Okay. I just been infatuated with this all my life. I can't shake it. Darrell, when he was a little boy, would draw pictures on my wall. All right, so I come home, I would have like cities on my wall. I would have
a full mural in the house.
Murals on my wall. And so I said to my wife, Pam, who's too young to be your mama, but she could be your auntie, right? I said to her, find a painter that can paint erasable paint, so we can paint these walls and let this boy go to town. Okay. And so she found him, and he was every time he looked up, pictures everywhere. And as you know, 4 years ago, he graduated from Ringling College of Art and Design in Sarasota, Florida, one of the top art schools in the United States of America. Probably the only African-American student to get the degree that he got, with a 3.0 higher grade point average. He's been at that all his life. See, that's infatuation. That's
lifetime infatuation.
My daughter Sophia has been about helping people and advocacy since she was a little girl. She was volunteering for this and volunteering for that. We give Auntie some credit for that, because Auntie exposed her to some of that. And as you know, at the age of 14, she started a nonprofit to help orphans in Nairobi, Kenya. She's just getting back from over there. That same one she started at 14, she's 20, about to turn 21 next week now. And so she established a nonprofit to help orphans in the areas of arts and advocacy. That's what she does. And so she's been back and forth to Kenya like 20 times. She spent an entire summer there when she was 16 as a teacher. Most fathers would never let their child go that long. I said, no, God's purpose is in your life. You're going. All right. I let her go and prayed every day. Talk about prayer. She don't know I was sinner, so I can increase my prayer life. I said, in the name of Jesus. But now she has a team of people over there. She's got money from people donating that she's paying these folks to do the work in Kenya. She said it's about empowering the people to do the work there, not us coming in as the great American heroes.
Wow.
That's lifetime infatuation. I'd have to put that in there. Girl, was this in her? It's just what she's. So for people that's trying to find it, don't overcomplicate it. What's in you, man? Like, what do you think about? That's not a mistake. God placed for me. Take me anywhere. Disney World, restaurant. Somebody gonna get inspired in there.
That's right. Come on.
Somebody's potential gonna get pulled out of them. And Pam will tell you that. She said, everywhere you go, he got somebody fired up, because it's just who I am. And then the move from there, Lisa, is don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it about you, me, I. Just start serving. What can I do to use my gift to make a difference? For me, I was volunteering to speak in schools and organizations. I wouldn't even get paid for this stuff. Nobody's paying me anything. But guess what? I just was giving it away, because what the Bible say, give and it shall come back to you. Good measure, pressed down, shaken together. So don't try to get like everybody out here where I gotta just, take this and become somebody. Yeah. Naturally become what God has called you to be. And He'll take care of the rest.
Come on. Wow. So good. Did that answer your question?
That did.
Yeah.
So, Coach D, with the remaining 5 minutes that we have,
Mm-hmm.
you have quite a few incredible books.
Yeah. Yep.
That are out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, you have quite a few books that are out, and then you also have opportunities to go into schools. And this is literally how you provided for an incredible family that's doing incredible things for the last 20 years of your life. So could you tell us a little bit about your business? And
Wait a minute. Real quick. I just keep hearing the Holy Spirit say in my heart, like somebody that's going to listen to this, it has been battling comparison. And when we're talking about finding your gift and just really doing what you feel like is innately in you, sometimes when we're looking at other people and even on social media, you can get really distracted. And I almost feel the Holy Spirit almost like screaming, have them talk about comparison.
That's so good.
I love that. That is the Holy Spirit speaking to you, because that is truly an area I think about often, especially today, because you got Instagram, you got TikTok, you got all these different things. And what you got to, with those folks that may be struggling with that, Lisa, I don't have a super duper answer. I just have a simple thing I would like to share. All right. We are so unique, and you've heard this before, and I've heard it. We're so unique that nobody on the planet has our fingerprint.
So good.
If nobody on the planet has my fingerprint, that means I'm unique. And I'm uniquely made. Okay. And so people out there doing whatever, making noise, boom, listen, they have nothing to do with your destiny. He does.
That's right.
I'm in the speaking and training business. I can look at John Maxwell. Come on, these people I can look at Les Brown. I can say, oh man, I'm not where those guys are. I don't want to be where they are. I want to be where God has me for my life and my purpose. And then secondly, because of the times we live in, everybody wants to be successful. Everybody wants to be rich. Everybody wants to have, I'm telling you right now, get all that junk out of your head.
Yeah.
Because wealth is a byproduct of you putting your hands to the plow. Just do what you're called to do. And what level of wealth it is that you're going to get, you'll get it.
Yeah.
But you don't want your whole entire motivation, like today's society, about getting fame for the sake of wealth and the sake of, people doing this. And I'm not familiar with some of the work I'm doing. I'm starting a program in mid-February called Influencers. All right. And it's going to be, and this is something that I would love to share with your people. It's going to be a 2-month coaching online of people who want to take their gifts, talents, and abilities and turn it into consulting, coaching, and training. So, but what I'm sharing with people is, if you're coming on here because you want, buy a Mercedes Benz and a house, I'm the wrong one to coach you. You can eventually end up buying it if that's what you want, if you put the time in. But I want people to want to influence. I want people to use their voice to make a difference. And then all those other things are just byproduct. You know what I mean? Byproducts of all of this. So that person, don't ever compare yourself to anyone else. You are so unique that nobody has this fingerprint. And God is giving you a specific call.
Yes.
Nobody can ever do what he called you to do. I don't care what they're doing. They can't do it because they're not you.
So good.
They're not you. There's no way they can do what God's called you to do. So I don't know if that helps, but hopefully that's at least a foundational building block. If you start to think that look at your fingerprint and remind yourself of who you are.
Oh, that's good. Yes.
That's the advice I would give them. Because you're not with people. This whole crazy madness out here, you'll go crazy trying to connect with all of this.
Yeah.
But you have a complete joy like Coach D does when you know who you are.
Yeah. That's
get up in the morning, walk around here, do my run. I can't run like Mondo. Mondo won 5 miles. I'm not saying I'm ever going to do that.
I can't run with him either. He's like, baby, let's go for a run. I'm like, just let me go.
Call me up running. He calls me up running. He can talk and run at the same time.
Who does that? Who talks the whole time? And you can't even hear like the huffing and puffing. When you run with him, he'll be asking you all these questions. You'll be like, wait after running.
It's all about efficiency. That's all it is. You know what I'm saying?
I need some more of that efficiency, all right? Yeah, our company, we don't just do the youth thing anymore, Mondo. We got corporate contracts where we're doing diversity, equity, inclusion. We got contracts where we're doing leadership coaching. We're doing a lot of work in the space of self-care, but we got a thing called the psychology of self-care. I'm going to send you an email with a website we have called the Self-Care Empowerment. We're starting this thing called the Self-Care Movement, and I think it's ordained by God because so many people are stressed out today. So many people are burnt out and full of anxiety. Folks aren't taking care of themselves.
Oh, good.
You know? Yeah. So I'll send you some information if you want to share with your podcast listeners of things we're doing there. We're going to have conferences. We're going to have a variety of different things. All my stuff is about empowering people. And then, as you know, one thing new that we're beyond the self-care movement that we're working on, it's all people stuff, is the Global Joseph Initiative. And that's for Christian business owners to become influencers. You know what I mean? Our core group, obviously, of our G Influence team. But we believe that success in business is really more about influence than anything else. That God can use you in business as a form of ministry. And so our goal is to have conferences here in Orlando and other places, starting here in Orlando, because I just love Orlando and it's 95 degrees outside, sunshine, palm trees. So it's a better place.
Nobody's jealous.
I know you already said
Nobody's
that.
jealous. We already know that. We already know that. We got to move on. Did you say we out of time?
Don't be hating. Don't be hating.
Everybody's hating. Everybody's hating right now. We wish we were in that weather.
Yeah, but that's some of the stuff. I'll send you links to all of that, and you can share with your audience. But
because that's all different websites.
Yeah, we have different stuff, different websites.
Yeah, and we'll post all of that. We'll post all that in the comment section for everybody.
Yeah, like because just whatever. Yeah, just different things. But most importantly, I just hope folks continue to listen to this podcast and come back. I mean, I'm honored to be your first guest, but I know you're going to be bringing in some powerful people, and hopefully, I'll be like John. Y'all too young. You're not may not remember Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon, where Ed had a little ongoing role with Johnny. But maybe this won't be my only time that y'all bring Ed McMahon back in every now and then to drop some wisdom.
No, we definitely need that. We will definitely be having you back, Coach D. So honored to have you. And there's so much more that we can unpack, even with those 5 points that you shared. And there's a whole nother podcast that we want to do with you in regard to your family, because you mentioned some things about your son and him doing the murals on your living room wall. I think every parent has that moment at least one point in their, parenting season. And then your daughter and how she's been back and forth to Kenya. She starts a nonprofit at 14. I mean, we skated over some huge things. Yeah. I mean, we can do an episode on each of those conversations alone. So we definitely want to have you back, and we want to talk about family. So I think stage one is, how do you put yourself in a position where you can discover your purpose and you can discover what you were born to do and realize what your fingerprint is meant to leave on this earth as an imprint, value to society. But then once you become a parent, if you're a parent, now the question is, well, how do I do that for my children, for my family? And I think that'd be a great episode to bring you back and have you talk about that. But Coach D, in our remaining few moments here, is there anything else that you'd like to say to everyone before we close out?
Well, first thing first, for you too, I'll put a few websites in the chat feature, so you have them. If you click on them, it'll take you there. I just want to say nothing, not about me. I want to say about you too. I just think that people need to know who you are. People don't need to realize that you two understand walking by faith and not by sight. Ever since I've known you, everything you've ever done in your career, your family, your beautiful children have been about faith. And so I'm a big believer in gaining wisdom and insight from people who walk the talk. You know what I mean? Who are, they literally, they're living it. So I just want to say to anybody that's listening to this podcast, I'm going to be a listener. I would encourage you to listen, because you two are being used by God because of, not just because you want to start a podcast, but because of the life that you've lived. You know what I mean? You've stayed the course. You and I know, with like my life, no life, with nothing's perfect. But what you do is you get out there and you share wisdom in such a way it's going to help and transform other people's lives. And all the good, and sometimes even the challenge, is a lesson. You know what I mean? It's all a lesson. Like Pam and I, after 29 years close, we say we're more knowledgeable now to teach about marriage than anybody, because we've been through the highs, we've been through the lows, we've been through the sideways and everything else. So guess what? We can talk about it. So you two have stood the test of time with faith, not just marriage, I'm talking about life, you know what I mean, across the board. And you're qualified to do this podcast. And so people, please listen because you're going to learn a lot.
Oh, Coach D, thank you so much. Any final thoughts from you, sweetheart?
No, I'm just soaking in what he just said. I really appreciate that. Wow. Thank you so much. Because I think a lot of times you can kind of question it, you know.
We all do.
So just thank you for that inspiration and that motivation and being able to closely even look at your life and glean from it to know that, you know what, without a shadow of a doubt, God has you.
God's got us.
Right there.
God's got us. And if we don't do any more than that, then we're good. Because I just, for me, it's about having peace of mind. You know, it doesn't matter what it is, situation, scenarios. Like last year I had some medical issues. People like, oh God, they worried. I said, worried about what? I'm good. You know, it's just faith. I'm not going to take faith and slice it up into a pie. Oh, I'm only going to have faith with this slice.
Right.
I'm just going to have the whole pie, you know, in every aspect. And then you can live a life full of peace and understanding and knowing who you are in God. And you're good. So love you all. Thank you for allowing me to be on. Yeah.
Ooh, that was so powerful.
Yeah.
So thank you guys so much for tuning into the Inspiring with Purpose podcast. We are so glad you're here. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share if you found value in this, because we believe it can help other people. Remember, you were born with a purpose. You were born with a solution to someone else's problem. And when each of us step into that purpose individually, collectively, we can change the world. God bless you guys, and we look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Wow.
That was amazing.
There was so much more we could have covered.
Yeah.
I mean, the 5 points with the 5 garbage bags. His daughter starting a nonprofit at 14, flying back and forth to Kenya.
I know.
Dozens of times.
I know.
Like, weird. Oh my gosh.
I wanted to hear more about his family, you know, the parenting and all
of
that. Back. You know what I was saying? You saw the picture that was behind his head. I was like, what would it look like for us to get a picture of us? Like, you know, like put on the wall.
I don't know about that face, but we can definitely.
Like for the kids to see, you know, every time they wake up or they doing something they not supposed to, be like, go look at that wall over there.
That's right. Boom.
Think about it.
Think about it. But let's talk about that for a second. Think about it.
Think about it.
I'm still.
You're disappearing.
I'm still blown away at how he has the wherewithal. I mean, this. Oh my gosh! I feel like we got to have him back and talk about this, because we touched on it in this podcast. But he has changed his whole family tree. Yeah. And when you think about a kid, he went to college already. He was already in the atmosphere and literally had a 0.9. And then he becomes a president, graduates. He's the captain of the football team 2 years in a row. He's met the president of the university. He's an influencer. Now for the last 40 years of his life, he's an entrepreneur. Oh my, like, how do you? It's all about what's in here between these 6 inches right here.
That's true.
And he made a decision. He said he had a dream in his heart and he was open. Good. You like that?
Mine smells like cabbage.
And blueberries. There's a little bit of sweetness. I thought you was going to put me on blast in my breath stink.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sweet.
Okay, moving on.
So when you're thinking about, I'm trying to get my mind back.
I know.
I'm ready to
I know. Look, listen.
I'm ready to
one of the things.
I'm ready to do something.
Okay, babes, look, focus. One of the things that really encouraged me was how he did not allow that situation of failing out of school define him. Because you think about, I mean, that's like a gut punch. I'm just, and then he had to go back home and face those very people that was there to see him go off. How many, can you imagine that? I'm just like, I can feel probably just a little bit of what he felt. But the fact that, he got back up and started working. And like he said, he still had this spirit of excellence about him, even at his job. It's like, yeah, okay, maybe I missed the mark right here. Maybe made some bad choices, but I didn't allow that to define me where I wasn't being my true self. Like his true self, like with his communication gift and just his spirit of excellence, even as a dishwasher, was was like landing in that time of his life. You know what I'm saying?
You know what's very interesting about what you're saying? That is so true. And there's an element to what you're saying that is so critical here. So if you're listening, I want you to think about this, right? Sometimes in life, we fall down. Sometimes in life, we may even fail. And we've heard fail forward, but sometimes we stay down.
Yeah.
And he technically failed, right?
Yeah.
He didn't really fulfill the mission at the college that he went to.
But beat up a little bit.
But what keeps us down? It's our pride.
It is.
It's our pride. Yeah. It's being worried about what other people think. It's comparing ourselves. It's not wanting to embarrass ourselves or having to face the people that believe in us.
It's about other people. Like,
yes.
Stop thinking about other people. Stop.
Yes. Yes. So he had to be humble enough to have a going away party to tell the people that watched him fail that I'm about to go back to college. And then they ask you questions. Think about it, right? Like, oh, well, did you get accepted to the school? Right. No. Do you have transportation? No. Did you get a registration letter? No. Do you have a scholarship? No. But guess what he did? I got 5 trash bags. I'm here to go to school.
But think about that confidence, though. I mean, with the trash bags, got on the bus and showed up like, yo, I'm here.
And look at how it worked out. See, one little bit of faith, just a little bit of faith can take you a long way. That one act of faith transformed the next 40 plus years of his life and even more because it's impacted his children. Yeah. And I know his kids. This is a family that's the real deal.
Yeah.
And he doesn't just preach it, he lives it.
How many people would not have even gotten on the bus because they didn't have the right luggage?
Ooh, that'll preach right there. You just hit a vein. Because they worrying about what people think if they got the Louis Vuitton bag or the Gucci bag. But it's like,
trash bag.
What do you have?
What do you have?
What do you have right now that you can use to take the next step in your life? And as we're processing this, some things to think about. Number one, where do you feel like you may have failed? And it's the pride that's keeping you down. And
when you keep saying fail, that's kind of like rubbing me the wrong way. Because I believe what Oprah says, and she says it's impossible to fail unless you give up.
And
you just got to beat up a little bit. You got
one of my good friends,
but you can't fail.
One of my good friends, Tim Berry, says failure is achieving an unintended result. Mm-hmm. I like that. So it's okay to use that word because I just achieved an unintended result.
Right.
Where have you achieved an unintended result in your life where pride is keeping you in hiding?
Yeah.
Where do you need to step out to birth the dream that lives in your heart right now?
Yeah.
Where do you need to do that? And then when you show up, they may look at you like you're crazy. They may say, well, are you registered? Do you have a scholarship?
No.
And the answer may be no, but because of your faith, mountains can move just for you. Mm-hmm. Mountains can move just for you.
Yeah. And faith is not manipulation. He could have went in there, with his communication gift and been like, when she asked those questions, instead of just being straight up, no. He could have been like, well, you know how we do with all the manipulation, and trying to get a desired result by trying to manipulate people. But he didn't. Stepping in faith does not mean manipulation. It's stepping in faith and allowing God to open up the doors, to close the doors, not you pushing doors open, slamming them, breaking them.
So humility and vulnerability led to him stepping into his destiny.
Yes.
He was humble enough to say, I'm going to go back to school. Mm-hmm. He was vulnerable enough to say, I don't have the funds.
Right.
And it ultimately led to him walking into his destiny.
Yeah.
So when we are humble and we walk in humility, but yet we're also in a vulnerability, mm-hmm. willing to share the truth of where we truly are and not try to make things look like something that is not.
Right.
That's what leads to us stepping into our destiny. So I'll say that's a great point to end on right there.
I agree.
And no matter where you are, no matter what you're experiencing, we just want to encourage you to take that step today. Mm-hmm. Identify that person in your life that believes in you and has been speaking life into you. Mm-hmm. Share this message with them and ask them, hey, what do you see when you look at me? And more importantly, more importantly, ask God what he sees when he looks at you.
Yeah, I'm about to say this.
Because he's given you this fingerprint, and there's no other fingerprint like it on the face of the earth.
Mm-hmm.
So make an imprint on this world.
Can I say one thing about the fingerprint real quick?
Of course.
Okay, so we all have a fingerprint, right? But some people's fingerprint doesn't even register. Like mine doesn't even register.
Oh.
And so not only am I unique, but I can't even be like put in a box. Like I can't even be identified on paper like that because that's just how unique I am.
You are, baby.
That's how
You're
the
the
Lord
bomb,
made me.
girl.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes. All that in a bag of chips. Let's go. My baby can't even be identified. Take that. Yeah. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We are so honored that you're here.
Thanks for
And
spending this time with us.
we look at you like family. So we're going to continually grow as a community. And the purpose of this is to help people.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about. The Inspiring with Purpose podcast is designed to help you recognize that no matter what season of life you're in, that you can have the breath of God breathe into you, and you can produce purpose in every facet of your life.
Yeah.
And we're going to find more stories, more incredible stories. We have so many more that I'm so excited about that you're going to get a chance to hear and get inspired just like we have. And inspiration alone is not enough. That means that God's breathed it into you, but now we have to do something with it.
Yeah.
And that's where you step into faith to activate your purpose. So we want to encourage you today, take this that you've learned today, fill your trash bags up, go out and step out of faith and make one decision that can change the rest of your life.
You can do this and you're not alone.
That's right.
Not alone.
So don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And we look forward to seeing you on our next episode of the Inspiring with Purpose podcast.
All right.
I'm recording.
This could be a good footage for you.
You're right. We're recording now. It's all in there now, Coach D.
You actually, you'll look back at this one day.
We just started the podcast. And Lisa tells me, "Yes, my mom's therapist is going to be here." And I'm like, "Well, when?" She's like, "Now." Did we not talk about this?
Podcast bloopers, man. You got
to come in the house.
Yes, I can.
Your first podcast, day one, first recording.
With the therapist right now. Hey, what are we doing?
Podcast etiquette number 1: turn your phone off.